How can you look at reality and hold on to faith at the same time? I'm Dr. Carol. We're talking about ways to move forward, ways to get through this season of stress with less fear, less anxiety, in a resilient way. The pandemic that we are in is dangerous, it's real, and we are overcome with negative facts. Turn on any news station, any radio, social media, anything, and you are overwhelmed with the facts, and they're almost always bad. We can grab onto pieces that are good. They're finding this treatment, or maybe the increase in the cases and deaths of COVID-19 are slowing down. But by and large, the facts are very negative. How can you hold on to faith even in the middle of all of that? In addressing that, I'd like to tell you a very brief story. Admiral James B. Stockdale was a fighter pilot in the Vietnam War. He was shot down over Vietnam on one of his missions, was captured and imprisoned in the infamous Hanoi Hilton prisoner of war camp for nearly 8 years. Long periods of time in solitary confinement, serious torture. He was instrumental in, both for himself and for many of the other prisoners of war in that camp, helping them get through mentally intact. After his eventual release, he developed what the armed forces have implemented in training other personnel to be prepared for particularly dangerous circumstances. He developed what's called the Stockdale Paradox, popularized by Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great. But the Stockdale Paradox is this: you must with brutal honesty, look at the reality of your situation, and at the same time, hold on to faith that you will ultimately prevail in the end. Now, as believers in Jesus, we know we will ultimately prevail in the end. But holding that tension, looking at the reality with brutal honesty at the same time, can sometimes feel difficult for us. A way to put that in perspective is to think about the areas of control that you have over which you have control. The broad world out there, you don't have any direct control over. You can only worry about it. And that we could call the area of concern. You're concerned about the protective equipment for healthcare personnel, concerned about what governments are doing, handling the financial implications of this crisis, and all the rest of it. You can't directly do anything about that. You're concerned about it. The next inner area is your sphere of influence. There are certainly areas in which you do have some influence, perhaps related to friends, family. Maybe you have a job where your influence is a little greater in this particular situation. Maybe you are a leader over some others. You do have some influence in certain areas. And then the center is your area of control. And that is comparatively a very small area. We know from scientific research that people who spend most of their time and energy focusing on what they can control do better. Right in the midst of acknowledging the brutal facts, focusing your actions and attention on the areas you do have control over help you get through with more resilience. I believe that's right in line with God's word. Even when things were really bad in many situations in the Bible, he often gave his people something to do. Focusing on the area you do have control will make a difference. And I encourage you to ask Jesus what that is. There is perhaps no better time to employ what I call the two-part prayer. And that two-part prayer is this. Number one, Jesus, come into the middle of this. Stop this virus. Bring the answers. Protect your people. Protect your children in the world. Jesus, enter this. Bring your power, your mercy to play. And then number two, Lord, what would you have me to do? What step do you want me to take? Who do you want me to help? What steps do I need to take to be protected or prepared? What do you want me to do? And focusing there will lessen your anxiety, put your energies in a healthy direction, and allow you to cooperate with God in what He wants to do in your life. And until tomorrow, may God bless you.